So how are you? I was checking
I'm
out your
good.
book. I didn't have a chance to read that much of it because I got called into work, but
Okay.
it looks pretty interesting. It
Gangster life.
sounds like a future movie.
We hope so. We hope so. We think it's going to be good. We're doing a lot of work on a script. We hope the book sells well, and then we'll know if people like it. Then we go to the next step.
Right.
He sounds like Tony Soprano.
Yeah, I'm sure he wants to hear that.
Well, I'm being nice so you can understand me.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You don't have to be nice on this show. You can say whatever you want.
We are
Well,
uncensored.
if I could, I would wrote a better book.
Yeah.
Right, there you go.
So why don't you take us back to the start of the book and tell us how you got into this?
Well, how I wrote the book?
No, how you got in, how it all started. You
Oh,
with the
okay.
Mafia.
Well, my father was a bodyguard for Larry Gallo with the Gallo brothers
Oh,
back
wow.
in the early '60s.
Yep.
And as I grew up as a little kid, and I became my father's driver, and I got into their life, by accident or by choice, I don't know.
Right.
But I became part of it in the early '70s, like 1970, '71, and just experienced a whole lot of stuff that I thought was pretty interesting. After I retired many years later, and we just it's a memoir. It's a memoir of something I've done
Right.
that we thought was pretty interesting.
It sounds like the way you got into it was other than the fact that your father was involved. The start of Goodfellas, where the young kid got into the Ray Liotta character got into the mob. Is that fairly realistic to the kind of thing that happened?
Well, I don't know. I was born into it. So
Right.
I don't know. I don't think Henry Hill was born into it. I think he was a naval guy, and he wanted to be a hoodlum, and it was a choice.
Right.
I was born into it, so everything was natural to me. So I never got up in the morning and said I want to be a gangster or I want to be bad. I just flew into it, normally. Like it's my father. My father was who he was, and we all admire our fathers, and I just slowly creeped into it, and it just became me. Just became me. But no, I didn't wake up in the morning and say I want to be a gangster stuff. No, not at all. Not at all.
Right.
It was just a natural. When you're born into it, it's a little easier. You look at it, and it's more natural to you.
Right. I would imagine that you were already getting the respect in the neighborhood because everybody knew who your family was, right? So
definitely, yeah, of course. That's why it's so easy transition into it so easy, because when you're younger, you see what's around you. You see your father getting respect and having money and driving and jewelry and cars, and then everyone knew who you were in the neighborhood.
right.
So when you old enough to be a little ballsy yourself,
Right.
and you get away with a little more, or you get a lot more respect, naturally, and you notice these things, and then it gets to your head, and then it becomes natural, and then you become a bad guy or a good guy, whatever you want to call it.
Right. So how did
basically how I got it.
I read the bit that was saying about the Gallo gang were independent, and there was originally 5 families that kind of controlled the area.
Yes.
So
there was always 5. The Gallo crew was a crew in the Pafaci family that was not really happy with the Joe Pafaci, which was the boss of the Pafaci family, and they broke away. And they broke away and went to war. They were like a renegade crew.
right.
But they officially, even after they broke away and they fought, from 1960 to 1963, they were still under the umbrella of the Pafaci family. They conducted themselves like they weren't, but technically they were. When Joe Gallo went to jail, they were pretty quiet. Then when Joey got out of jail, he started up the war again. And then the second war started in 1971, and that's the one I lived through. I lived through the one from 71 to 76.
Right.
Lucky you.
70, the first one I was young.
What was there a particular reason that the Gallo people left the family? Was it something? Because I remember.
Well, yeah, Joe Pafaci was an old school boss, and he was very cheap. and he was asking for dues every month that these guys didn't want to pay. It was it was late 50s, early 60s. His money wasn't very big, and they didn't like his ways as a boss. And then he made a couple promises that he reneged on. They did a few killings that they're supposed to earn big on, and that they didn't get what they're supposed to, and that was it. But these guys, you're dealing with crazy people. You're not dealing with normal people in the first place. So his philosophy: if I kill for you, I can kill you.
Right.
So and that's why they broke away.
Okay.
And they were a unique. They were a unique crew. I mean, they fought against a big family and pretty much survived it for 16 years.
Oh my God.
And until like 76. But it was an interesting ride. A lot of people got killed. A lot of people went to jail. There was a lot of commotions. My father went to jail a few times. I got arrested many times between. It was wacky. It was a wacky.
Did he? Was it because your father was connected? How was jail for him?
Well, nobody likes it. I mean, if no one likes jail, but
right.
He would do what he had to do, and he would get small bids. He would do a year, then a 3-year bid, and a 3-year bid, and then 2-year bid. No, but if you look back, he says he's lucky he didn't get caught for some of the things he did. So
right.
It would have been a lot more than that.
Yeah.
So you don't like it, but it comes with the game. Now,
did the Gallo guys sell drugs and stuff like that, or was that code that you hear about them not?
Yeah, no, the Gallo brothers didn't. The Gallo family didn't deal in junk. That was not their forte. They were big in gambling and shylock-ing, bars. They had a jukebox business, any little other enterprise you get into. We were involved with the porno business. But drugs, no. Drugs. We happened to get involved in drug business a lot later than that.
Right.
On our own, because it was very lucrative, and we were like renegades anyway. So it was lucrative at the time. So you're a hooligan, is to make money. So you go make money.
So you guys were pretty much just Brooklyn, right? Did you go to Queens, or did Queens have its own families?
No, we were strictly Brooklyn. We lived and died in Brooklyn. But the families are in every borough. You have all 5 families in every borough. But you usually stay where you are. If you're taking action in your neighborhood, which is Brooklyn to us.
Right.
We stood in Brooklyn, until you moved on. But everybody pretty much stays in their own backyard.
Do you ever watch movies and go, "There's no fucking way that this would have happened"?
Did I ever watch movies?
No, and think that whatever the scene is in the movie.
No, like portrayed. When they portrayed like.
Do they portray?
Oh yeah. I owe a lot of bullshit there. Of course.
Yeah.
Definitely. That's why I don't like movies. I try to watch them a little bit, but as soon as I see something that I know is not true, I don't like it, and I'm the type of guy that I can't see no more. That's it. I'm over. I just don't watch them because they make a lot of mistakes, or they make things up that's not true.
Right.
There's so much stuff that's true that I know why must you make things up.
Yeah, because I'd imagine that you've seen, writing the book, you've seen so much stuff. You don't need to add a bunch of bullshit to it.
No, I mean there's such stuff there. That's documented that they can talk about. I mean to make lies up. Like the Untouchables, they threw Elliot Nessel, they threw Frank Nitti off a roof and killed them. Everyone knows that's not true.
Wow.
I mean, the guy killed himself in a train yard. I mean, so why would you do that? So I can't watch stuff like that. Documentaries I can't watch. So as soon as I see stupid stuff in it, which everyone I've seen so far was stupid. I didn't see anything good. I mean, people like it, and they, people watch it and say, "Oh, that's great. That was so good." And I just tell them, I said, "What? But it's wrong." Why you want? They make Al Capone a junkie. I mean, I read everything about Al Capone. I met a few people that indirectly knew the family, and I've never heard. I'm 60 years old. I've never heard until last year that Capone was a big cokehead. I've never seen that. The last 2 documentaries I saw, that's what he did was snort coke. I've got a once removed grandfather that was with Capone in the 1930s, and he drove for him for say 1932 to 33 or 34, he wrote for him. And he told us stories, and never once we ever heard anything about being a big cokehead. Only the last 2 years in these documentaries it came up. So I don't know where they got this shit from, but
right.
When I see this, it's not good.
What do you think of these shows now, at the end of reality shows, with like, you know, these families that were in the mob and now they're living in big houses in Long Island and they're trying to be TV celebrities now? What is that about?
Well, listen, you got to do something, man. If they're not being criminals, you got to make some money somehow.
Right.
So if they want to be celebrities and you know, and go on TV and make $1, it's all right with me. I mean,
they still end up in
you got to do something.
Yeah, they just arrested.
Is it better than it's probably better than being, you know, selling drugs or killing somebody or doing bad things? I mean,
yeah.
I mean, they're lies. Of course, no one can tell the truth. If you're a real hoodlum, you can't tell all the truth unless, you know, you got a pass. And not too many people get passes that they can just say anything they want. So,
right.
They're all gonna lie. I watched interviews with a lot of people, and they tell half truth.
Do you ever worry about something that you did in the past might come back and haunt you?
No, I really don't. It's so fun. You know, it's 16 years that I walked away from the life, and I think if anything was going to come up, it would come bit me in the ass already.
Right.
You know, so I really don't think so. I mean, can it? Yes, you know, it can, but what are you waiting for? I'm half dead now.
Right.
What are you going to wait for? I mean, 16 years and wait to 20 years, and you're going to come up with and try to prove something that it's so hard to prove in the first place? Nah.
Well, you know, there is DNA now. You see all these people from like
That's right.
the 70s. They're digging up bodies all over the place and figuring out who these people are. That would be.
I hope my DA is not nowhere around. Well, I hope not. We'll see. That'll be the next conversation if it ever happens. I don't know.
That'll be your next book.
That'll be my next book. I hope I ain't writing it from jail. But,
yeah, right?
But if I am, hey, listen, maybe I'll sell better. Who knows?
Right.
You know, but like I said, I've been like 16 years removed, you know, from being with a family.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, no, I don't worry about anything. No, I don't worry about anything. That's not what I do.
That's good.
And then to sit down and worry is no good, because worrying don't help you.
Right. Mm-hmm. So how old were you when you saw the worst thing you saw? I don't know if you want to say what it was, but I'm just wondering, you know, how old you were when you saw something really, really bad that you didn't...
Well, I was 6 when I saw my first killing. I was 6 years old when my father got killed on Union Street and 4th Avenue in Brooklyn. They shot him right in front of us. I was 6. I mean, I think that's the worst thing I've seen as a young fella. Did it affect me that much? No, you're 6, you're young. I probably didn't pick up on the whole thing that it was. I heard the yelling and screaming. You hear the banging, you know, the bang of the gun. The guy hits the floor. You know, 20 feet away. You know, it's more like television, you know, and Cowboys and Indians than at that time. You know, I mean, yeah, you know, I asked questions afterwards, and I was told, you know, it is what it is. So, and then it goes away. And I wasn't affected. I got affected more when my father got shot. My father got shot a few times. One time really bad. A couple guys came to the bar to kill somebody, and my father interceded in it. And he wound up getting shot twice, and he shot one of them. And he was on a deathbed. I mean, it was really bad, and we rushed him to the hospital. And when we got there, he was really bad. And you know, we were waiting. Try to get him surgery and like that. And when the priest came to give his last rites, it was a little shaky. I got a little shaky then, you know, because it's, you know, it's close to you. You know, that was a pretty, you know, scary experience. Or takes you back, you know, just takes the wind out of you. You know,
so
morality sets in then. You know, I mean, you can do a lot of bad things, but when it happens to you, you know, it's a little close.
Right.
He lived through it. You know, that was pretty bad. I mean. I saw a few other friends of mine got killed, and that we didn't expect. You know, I was drinking a couple of times, had dinner with a guy, and the next morning he's dead.
Wow.
You know, it gets to you. You know, as far as you know, on your mind. But if you're in life, you can't be worrying about it, or if it scares you, then you're in the wrong field.
Right. So when this happened when you were 6, was that pretty much the first time you realized exactly what you're involved in, or you already figured it out?
Not at all. No, I still didn't. I was still young. No, I didn't know. No, I was about 10 years old when I really started noticing that my uncles and, you know, were really different than everybody else. And then you hear people talking. But you're old enough now to understand, you know, things more. And at 6 years old, I didn't know. I thought they were playing in the street. Who knew what the fuck they would do? I don't know what they were doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't know. You know, if you're 6 years old and you know that much, then, you know, you're a real smart kid. I wasn't that really a bright kid. Who knows? At about 10, I realized that everybody was different and people were treating us different and, you know, we're speaking different and doing different things than other people. About 10. But 13, I was driving for my father, so
Wow.
Oh, wow.
I was 6 foot tall and
I guess you're not getting
pretty
pulled
sharp.
over when you're 6 foot tall, right?
I was smoking too. I was smoking
Wow.
and
Oh, my
driving.
God.
I was
Wow.
driving. Yeah, I was driving and smoking and bringing the guys to. I wasn't doing nothing, you know, bad. I mean, I was too young, but I was driving. You know, everybody starts somewhere and low in a totem pole.
Wow.
And I started as a driver. I would drive my father to meetings or to go out drinking or to clubs. Well, my godfather Bobby Giovanni was the bodyguard for Joey Gallo, so he was another, you know, a wackadoo guy. So I used to have to pick him up and drive him around.
Wow.
It's weird, you know, but you don't. I mean, I didn't realize, you know, how cuckoo or weird it was at the time, and because it was, like I said, you'd live in it and have time to think about it. You know, it was natural. We knew it was different, you know, and that's what you just think you're different. You know, not the better. I didn't think it was better than anybody else. Like I knew it was different than everybody else, and you just don't have time to, you know, sit down and reflect of, you know, what's going on around you. It took me. I was 55 years, 60 years old. You know, when I turned around and looked, I said, "Wow, you know, I did some crazy shit. My life was really nutty." Or somebody said around, you know, my wife or my children, you know, you went to some crazy things you guys did, you know, and that's why I started the memoirs. You know, I didn't really want to write a book and all like that. I just started writing some, you know, memoirs down and some interesting stuff, and I tried to make some humor in it. If you read the book, or if the people read the book, they're going to find some humor in it. You know, it's not going to be like a typical gangster book that you know, killing, boom, 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 you know, and this guy was bad or whatever. You know, I've got some good stuff in it. I got a midget in it that, you know, that was with the gallows. and, you know, I told some funny stories about him, you know, stuff that we did that, you know, it's not all, you know, killing and every minute of the day, you know, we did a lot of other things, a lot of laughing, a lot of drinking. You know, there was occasions, there was parties, there was birthdays, there was graduations, there was weddings, like any other normal people you do. So there's a lot of stories on these characters that did other things besides, you know, I mean, if a guy killed 4 guys in his life, okay, that's 4 bad things. But what you do other 365 4 days a year, you know, for 60 or 70 years, you know what I mean? You know, so that's why I try to bring out the book of the guys that I knew, that what I thought they were pretty funny things that I thought they were good that they did. You know?
Now, when some of you guys got in trouble, was that the feds that were doing that? Because I'd imagine back then you pretty much had the police department in your pocket.
When I in the 70s, it was a little harder in the 70s because we had a police, we had organized crime task force that was assigned to us on Pleasant Street. So we had 24-hour surveillance. So it got really hard to do anything and buy anybody. No, I don't think we were buying anybody because it was too much exposure and the limelight. Nah, I don't think. I think it was very rough for us at that time. You know, it was hard to move around.
Right.
You know, everybody was getting shot. If anybody looks historically, if they look it up, you know, between 71 when Joe Colombo got shot to 1976, it's a really historical, you know, a time when, and it was documented pretty decently. And you see that it was, you know, we couldn't move around much. There was guys getting shot left and right. I mean, I think 19 guys got shot within those, you know, year, the first year or two, and not killed, but they got shot. But so it was really hard to move around, you know. So I pretty much stood in a club for a while, drinking, watching. I was young. I was one of the younger guys, you know. So I was, you know, allowed to maybe go, you know, move around, collect money, do stuff like that. Maybe move guns around if somebody needed a gun, you know, just move around. But I wasn't privy in the first 2-3 years to, you know, do anything really bad.
Right.
Being Ricky's son, you know, they watch you a little better. You know, they don't just use you as just another hooligan coming up. You know, they watched you a little better. Don't send you to do bad things. especially when you're young. You know, everything's bad. I mean, to do really bad things. You know,
Right.
it's all bad. You know,
Yeah.
it's all bad. You know, moving guns or collecting money and doing stuff like that is not good. But it's, you know, it's not as far as bad as, you know, setting you out to kill somebody. No,
Right.
you're not too young.
How-
But you do what you can, and you just grow up, and you go up to do more things. You know?
Wow.
And that's what happened with us. You know, after, you know, those 4 years being on the block, you know, and plus I think I still say, you know, I was a half alcoholic at the time because all we did was drink. You know, I don't remember doing more than drinking and eating and, you know, doing stuff like that and party. We did a lot of partying and did a lot of laughing and joking in between, especially when you're stuck on a block for, you know, weeks and months at a time. You know, or you can't move around because there's detectives out the door not letting you move around. And so what do? You sit in a club and you drink, smoke, laugh, and have girls come down and dance, and pretty much it's like an ongoing party
Right.
because you can't move around. You know, I mean, and then, you know, the money gets rough. It's, you know, it's something to experience. You know, it's hard to explain because you have to see it. That's why if we do a script and a movie on it or a documentary, we can show, you know, what we did.
Right.
I think the book was interesting. I think visual will be more. You know, if we do it right. I just made it. You know, I told everybody who's writing the script, if we can't do it right, then we're not doing it at all.
Right.
I'm not going to tell the truth. Just tell the truth,
Yeah.
because there's no sense lying about stuff. Because there's enough stuff in the book. If people read the book, why would we have to make anything up? There's enough in that book to do 2 films.
Yeah, I mean, my problem is I grew up in England, so the only mafia stuff I ever saw was like movies like Goodfellas. Because in England we didn't really have the mafia. We had like the Jamaicans, but they didn't have guns back then.
What are you talking about? You had the K brothers, man. What are you talking about?
Oh,
Those guys were bad.
oh, the Craze. Yeah, sorry, that's in London.
Craze.
Yeah, but I mean,
What,
where I
they were
lived,
guys?
you know, they had the Jamaicans pretty much owned like what we call the housing estates, which you guys probably call the projects. And those guys.
What are you talking about? You must be a lot younger than me. You're talking about now?
He is.
Yeah.
He's a lot younger.
I'm a lot younger than you. Yeah.
That's
No,
right.
yeah.
Well, probably in the 60s. You had some gangsters there in the 60s,
Right.
guy.
Right. Yeah, I saw the
you
Craze.
just didn't
Well,
grow up with them,
there's
but you had some bad
gangsters
guys out there.
No, I'm just saying my personal experience. I just knew a bunch
Oh.
of Jamaican guys, and they didn't have guns, and they would fucking torture the hell out of people. They wouldn't kill them. They literally cut them to pieces. That was like the thing that went on.
Well, different gangs have different techniques. They have different moralities. You know, we do different things. Italians do different things than the Jamaicans or the Colombians or the Russians or Albanians. Everybody has different rules and regulations, or have no rules and regulations. I don't know what they do. I just know what we did.
Right.
You know, I'd rather be with mine. You know, not because I'm Italian, because I just know the rules and regulations a lot better. And I see, you know, I read about what these other people do. I wouldn't want to be part of that. I think it's too outrageous.
Who?
Even if you do bad things, which is crazy, you do bad things, but you've got a limitation what you do. Yeah, there's limitations.
That's kind of strange that you guys would actually sit down and come up with those rules. Are they just in place from old times, or?
Definitely, yeah. Everything was stemmed from the old school because because everything ruled was broken. Even from when I was there, it was made to be broken. But it was all made well before, I would say, 1920s, 19 like that. You know, and just grew from there with the old mustache guys. And they made rules and regulations, and then from there on, we just broke them. That's what I believe. It's just there to break them, and we just kept on breaking them until we broke every one of them.
Wow. What do you think of when they torture these people to get information out of them? Did that go on that much, or?
Who tortured them?
Well, I'm saying, like, say you think someone's a snitch, you're gonna.
We don't torture anybody. I mean, if we think you're a snitch 9 or 10 times,
you're dead.
You could kill you.
Right. Okay.
You don't sit there and want to know and find out what you know. I mean, anything I know of or heard of is that you get called a snitch, 99.9, you're gonna get killed.
Yeah, I think that's just
we're not big on torture and playing games like that. We're pretty cut and dry. I mean, even though sometimes it's wrong,
right.
You should ask a second question before you jump the gun. But there's rules and regulations in this life. If somebody calls you a rat and you're not a rat, you can ask for their life.
Wow, you got to be quick at getting your proof out.
You got to be careful what you say.
Yeah, you got
to. So just like the the rules and regulations. There's so many of them. A lot of people don't know them, but there's so many. But we're not big in torture. So I don't know anybody torture nobody. I know a lot of people kill people.
Right.
But torture, nah. You're going to do some bad to get tortured. That's got to be some kind of fictitious personal thing that, I don't know, that somebody hit your mother or something like that. Maybe you'll freak out and you beat the guy to death or something, torture him. But on a business deal, or if you're a rat, nah, I don't see that. I see other gangs do that. That must be their MO, maybe because they need different information or something. But that's not our MO. That's not what we do.
You never feared for your own...
Doesn't mean no one does it. There's there's 5 families, there's hundreds of thousands of guys. There's crazy people everywhere, man. You don't have to be, you can be crazy and be a gangster, or you can be, just a businessman and be a gangster. There's different types of gangsters. I know guys that never did nothing bad as far as taking a number. They live taking a number, which is legal, is illegal, but it's, the government, the city and state does it here. It's called lotto. And they're gangsters, and there's other guys that just kill people because they get paid for it, and that's what they do. So there's so many different types of a gangster.
Right. How do you think you would fare now, if it was going on now? Do you think?
No, I don't think I'm fair. I don't think I would fare at all. That's why when I walked away 16 years, I always had the opportunity to go back because of, I walked away nicely and I have no problems, but I would never go back. No, not at all. I know I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't even speak to anybody because I think everybody's a potential rat if they're not rats already. I think everybody's under an investigation, and I think it's going to just keep on happening. And why would I want to do anything to sit with guys that next week that might be under investigation already? I'm not suicidal. Why would I do that? I'm not stupid.
Right, absolutely.
So that's over with. I don't trust anybody, and I won't do anything. And now if I want to do anything, I just get over it.
Right.
I get over it. Let other people go to jail and get in trouble.
How did you walk away? Because you
walk away because in 1999 we were with an outfit that our skipper got arrested and was in jail, and his boss, which is the boss of the family, a guy named Vinny Oceans, he got arrested and he flipped. The boss flipped on all the others, his underbosses and other families. Everyone then our skipper then flipped too, and when he flipped, the whole upper echelon of the family was in jail or in witness protection program, and we walked away.
Wow.
Nobody was watching the door. We walked away. Said, "Wow, who are you? There was no one. We were a crew from Brooklyn. So if a Jersey, somebody came and asked who you were, who are you? I don't know you. You know me? I don't know you. Everybody was scared to talk to each other. So we just walked out, and no one ever called us.
Was that the first time that somebody close to you rolled over?
Yeah, it was the first time. Yes, yeah. In the old days, when I was a young guy in the 70s in the Gallo wars, I never heard the word rat. I never heard anybody doing that. That's a much more modern thing in this life. I never heard it in the 70s. I was with a tough crew, and I never heard of it, and no one ever in our family ever flipped. No, so it's pretty new compared to when I was there. And this guy in 99, when he did it, it was pretty shocking.
Wow.
But if you look at it, we sat back and watched everything, and we said, what could he do? It's either, his boss flipped on him, and so he was going to go to jail for a long time because the boss blamed him and told everything he did. And so what is he going to do? Sit there and do a murder and go to jail for life when the guy you're with that you did it for is telling the police you did it? I mean, so he's in a catch-22.
Wow.
I mean, I don't believe you should rat, but sitting back as with a brain, saying I don't know what this guy could have done. What he could have done is let everybody rat, everybody go have nice homes in Arizona, and he will stay in jail. He had 3 kids for something he didn't do or something that he should be in jail for. So you turn back, you look at it and say, that's pretty bad, So we never saw him again because he goes to a witness program, so we never able to speak no more. And he never went against us. We never the police never came and asked no questions, stuff like that. I think they made a deal that his crew would just walk away because they wanted the guys a lot bigger than us, and other families, because there was some big guys that went down in that case. I think Gigante was arrested on that, and a few other guys with big names. So they didn't want small guys like us, at the time.
What would you
so
do?
We pretty much walked away.
What would you do if you bumped into that guy right now?
I would say hello, ask how he's doing, ask how the kids are, and have a conversation with him, and that's it. He didn't hurt me, so and I pretty much understand his position. I mean, if he did it a different way, I would be a little, more maybe, I don't know what's the word, a little more bitchier or something like that, or what the word is. But I understood his, and I understood what happened over there, and I've seen it happen before, and I've seen it happen so many other times. I see other guys that did it for a lot less, just not to go to jail. When no one wanted them out, they just got caught for doing bad things, and they didn't want to go to jail. I found that to be a lot worse than somebody being ratted on, So no, I have no animosity to him, and he was a good guy with me. I never had no problems with him. Had nothing to do with me. I mean, it was his life, and he made a decision to do what he wanted to do to protect himself and his family. So that's what everybody else does. So I guess you have the choice to do at the time it shakes the fan. I believe now is that everybody's learned to do that. So I tell her, I say when I talk or I do, write some articles, something like that, I turn around and say the best thing to do is to be the biggest asshole, to do the worst things you can do. Just make sure that there's somebody ahead of you that you can rat on. So when it shits the fan, all the bad things you did, you can just push it off to the other guy.
I think
don't be the highest. Be somebody. Make sure somebody higher than you, man. So you can be a rat and you can get him in trouble so you can walk away. But do all the bad things you want. Be the biggest asshole you want to be. Do all the bad things, but just make sure you walk away. Because that's what they do.
Yeah.
They do the worst they can do. Just make sure they got that little card in their pocket that they have someone else they can, push it over to. And that's what it became. That's what it became. So,
and Andrew has a question. Andrew, go ahead. Andrew.
Come on, Andrew.
Oh my God.
All right, I guess he'll come back. Okay. What was I going to ask you? I was thinking that the rap thing would now be more, happening more now because the penalties have got worse, right?
Of course. The penalties are worse. They know everything. The law knows everything about everyone. I mean, it's nothing you can hide anymore. Don't forget, when 100 guys get, let's say 3 years ago, 100 guys get arrested in the Mafia. They pick up 100 guys. And one or two of those guys are going to flip. It's a fact. And when they flip, they flip on information about someone else.
Right.
If it's a different family or different crew or different. So now the law learns some other stuff. So it takes them between about 2 years to build a case and an indictment. So it's 2 years of walking around and then another big pinch comes down. Off the arrest of the 60 or the 100 that got arrested 2 years ago. And that's the MO. That's how it works. And it's an ongoing thing. Now 60 guys got arrested, a couple weeks ago. Someone's going to flip. It's just how they have to. That's the way it works. And that's the law knows that. They only need one. They need two. And they're going to know so much about someone's operation, a family or a crew, and they're going to know who they deal with, what they done wrong, who if they killed anybody, or if they robbed anybody, who did the killings, who did this, who did that. It takes them 2 years to put a case together, and then another 100 guys are going to get arrested. It's ongoing. It's never going to stop because once you get a rat, and once they flip, they tell everything of what they know.
I think it would be different. It would be different now because back then you all knew everybody and you all knew what everybody did. But I would imagine now they'd have stuff in place where you didn't know the guy above and you didn't know the guy below.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know. I mean, these guys they're gonna do things. They got to do things.
Right.
So and guys want to know things and they make it a business to know things because so they can so they can use it at the end.
Wow. Andrew's back again.
Protect themselves.
Andrew, go ahead with your question.
Yes. Hi, Frank.
Yeah.
I know you live in Brooklyn. A couple months ago, I was kind of shocked to hear of the corner of L&B
Pizzeria, yeah.
He knows about it. Yeah, the pizzeria.
He got robbed. They went to stick him up, and the guy got nervous. So far, the word in the street is that he went to get robbed. That guy shot him.
Wow.
That's what they got so far. They have a few eyewitness. They got a sketch. They got a car. They're working on. They're looking for the guy. But the way we get it, they pretty much know who it is, or they got a good idea. So, but the word in the street it was a stick up.
Okay, so it wasn't mob related. But it wasn't mob related.
The only problem is he had $10,000 on him. They took the 10,000.
That's 15,000. That's 15,000 on him.
Okay.
And that's why, which he usually never does. He usually never carries that money home. That's why they know that's why they think they're almost sure it's a stick up.
Okay.
And the guy stalked the place. They got video of the guy, stalking the place all day, and the car was there. If it was a hit, it wouldn't have happened that way because
they would have just went in and just friggin'
Well,
away.
they wouldn't have took the money, right? They would have just made
they left the money. The money was there. They didn't take the money.
Okay.
No, they took the money. The guy panicked. Every shot he ran. There was somebody around. Somebody spotted him. But if it was a hit, people thought it was a hit. But the hit would not have happened that way. They wouldn't be sitting there all day in a car, walking back and forth, looking at the cameras. You know you're going to get hit. You would have waited and come home, and you would have killed them. You wouldn't be parading like dancing for stars under all the what do you call it, on the videos they have there.
Right, there's cameras everywhere now.
This was a guy who's going to do a stick-up, nervous, and, back and forth. We saw the video on it. The car was parked up there. The car moved. He walked back and forth the house 3-4 times. A guy doing a hit not going to do that.
Yeah, that sounds like somebody that was, nervous to do it and...
Sure. Yeah. And a guy doing a hit wouldn't have done that.
Exactly.
The guy would have knew his face, or would have had a picture of him. He would have laid there, knew who he was. I mean, why is he walking from the house 3-4 times, 5 times?
Yeah, exactly.
What are you looking for? Yeah, you're looking for, a way how you're gonna rob this guy. So they pretty much. These guys are smart. The law's smart. They know what it is, and that's pretty much what they think it is right now. And I think they got a suspect. I don't know. That's what this word in the street is.
What was the time where you thought you were definitely dead? Was there any time like that?
Sure, I got in the 70s when I was in the war between 71 to 76. I got shot at twice, and thank God they didn't shoot straight, and they missed. And one time I was in a car, leaving the block to go get pizza, and I got off the Crescent Street, made a right turn to go on Union Street, which is a block away, and the car came running right up on us and filled us up with bullets, and we didn't get hit, but we didn't get hit. They ruined the car because I hit a Johnny pump. I dumped the car. It was a beautiful car. It was a 66 Cadillac convertible, but we ruined it. But another time there was another drive-by, and they missed, thank God. But that was pretty nerve-wracking. But you get nervous for a second, then you get mad, and then you spend the rest of the time figuring out what to do about it.
Now, once you got married and you had a wife and children,
yeah.
How did being in the mob, change your perspective of it once you had your own family and you knew that you had to then protect them? Were you ever afraid?
I was. We were doing the same thing. We was, I had kids in 81 and 83. 81 and 83, I was still deep involved. We were going to make more money, pretty much. You don't think of the morality as far as, I got to stop this now because I have a wife and kid. No, I didn't think that way. Don't forget, I was born in this. It wasn't I didn't have a decision.
Yeah, it was like your way of life.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. It's a natural thing to us, even though it's wrong. It's natural,
How did your
so
wife
just,
feel, or did she know that that's what she was marrying?
Yeah,
into?
she met me. She had to come to a police barricade to meet me on my second date. Yeah, so she knew that it was all over the newspaper. They knew.
I
And
don't
then
know.
it becomes interesting.
She probably liked
I
the
was
money.
gonna say
She
I
probably
would
liked the money.
probably no. I think just like an adrenaline rush.
Right.
I think it
I
would
think
be
so.
like
I mean,
yeah,
she was on
excited
a low
over
low
it.
about it, but I probably excited.
Mhm.
The first time she came down Pleasant Street and she met the whole cast of characters there. You meet a midget, you meet crazy people, you meet people that have been in the newspaper for the last couple of years, and now you're sitting having drinks with them and cocktails. I mean, for a young girl, she was 15.
Oh wow.
So I started dating she was 15. So that'd be overwhelming a little bit. She was pretty overwhelmed. It's interesting, yeah.
Mhm.
You're young, you're silly.
Yeah.
You take in the whole concept of the violence in it because you don't see that, and that's not it's not every day in your face. Only when something happens, then the violence is there.
Right.
Otherwise, there's so much other stuff going on. So her part, I think as we got closer and got married and we had children. No, did she want me to do this? No, but we had no. I was forget the ninth grade dropout. I didn't know anything else. I mean, we had businesses. We owned our own businesses, but it's only as good as it lasted. Things happen. But I didn't have too many other opportunities to go.
Right.
I mean, I couldn't do anything. I mean, what could I do? I mean, I came out of ninth grade and went and hung out in a club and flipped quarters. What could I don't know what to do. You know what I mean? I was just good at what I did. I was trustworthy.
Yeah.
And I drove well. And you can trust me. And they knew I was, not afraid, and I would buy with you, and that was good enough. You know what I mean? And and you don't know it's going to end. You can't sit there and say, oh, this was good for 10 years, and then I have to go Social Security. No, it doesn't work that way. You never think it's going to end.
Did any of your kids ever get involved?
No, my kids not. No, my daughter is.
Oh, okay. You had a girl.
Got three kids. And,
Oh, okay.
And my young one is college, in and out, because he don't know what he likes to do. Mm-hmm. And my older one's been working for us back and forth as far as contracting and window companies and stuff like that. Nah, they don't even like that. They have no respect for this life action stuff.
One of our listeners wants to know if you have any of your old friends on Facebook.
Do I have what?
Or any of the old gang that you used to know, like on Facebook with you?
I have one close friend in the book. If you read the book, it's called. His name was Gumbadil. Right. And we're in contact on Facebook and on the phone constantly. But no, everyone else, the young guys my age, between me and Gumbadil and like Frankie Pajutto and Matty Fayel, they were all dead. Everybody's dead. Most of them they took junk and they died, and But no, there's not too many people. The young guys that hang around that are around. But like I said, my closest one was the guy that I did everything with. Is Anthony Gumbadil, and me and him were on the phone like 2 12-year-olds every day laughing. I mean, sometimes we wished that it was taped, so it'd be funniest thing ever. You see 2 6-year-old men laughing like 12-year-olds over the shit we did. I mean, that my wife and kids come in the room and say, what's wrong with you? He's laughing like a 12-year-old. So because he got away too. He got away, and he's a hard worker, and we just laugh now. And we don't laugh about bad things. We laugh about the funny things we did.
Right.
There's a lot of funny things we did, or funny things other guys did. He was very close to my father. My father was close with him, so that experience is that if I wasn't around, they would be together, and he would laugh about certain things. That's what we laugh about. We laugh or reminisce about the drinking, the girls, stuff like that.
You guys should do a podcast.
Go, remember that killing that guy got killed when we killed that guy? No, that's stupid shit. No one talks about that. But we're like 60 going on 12. So I mean, it's all good now. It's all good now. We sit back. I say to myself that I do what I had to do. Do I have regrets? I regret that I didn't have a chance or the opportunity to do something else. That's what I regret. I did what I was, born into. I did it well.
Right.
And if somebody got hurt, I believe that they wouldn't hurt me. So, I never personally went and bothered anybody or went to some old man and old lady candy store and asked them for protection money for $10 or $50 a week. I never did that, and I was never asked to do something like that. And I only see that on television and movies.
Right? Where they just go into the store, they just take what they want and walk out.
Yeah, I never saw that. I mean, I was a red hook shop booking all my life, and with these gangsters, and if I would have went into a store with old people in there and shook them down, they would have given me I would have back to Pleasant Street, and someone would have given me a kick in my ass.
Right.
Something bad like that.
All right.
So, I only see that on TV.
So your book, The President Street Boys, Growing Up Mafia by Frank DiMatteo, is available on Amazon and the few bookstores that are actually left on this planet. And very
Barnes and Noble, right? Thank God.
Yeah.
Right?
Are you?
Well, if you read it, you'd enjoy it. Trust me. And there's stuff there you would enjoy. Not because I want everybody to buy it. I want the people to buy the book.
Right.
I think it's a great story, man. I'm proud of the story as far as it's a memoir. And even the task of trying to write it was a bitch because I never knew I didn't understand shit. You know how hard it was to do that, man. And now from doing a book of the 2 years it took me to do it like that, man, I'm like a pro now. I spell, I read, I think. I mean, it's fun now. I'm on my second book. I self-taught myself, from doing that. So I'm really proud of that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Of the story. And like I said, it's not only shoot 'em up, stupid story. I mean, you see a lot of affection in there. You can see a lot of, comedy in there. My godfather was funny as hell, man. He was a killer, but he was funny as hell.
Right.
I mean, and it's funny as
Most
a killer could be.
Italians are.
But I look at it a different way. I'm not saying he was a good guy. Like I say in the book, I don't judge anybody. God's going to judge everybody when they get up there.
Yep.
I'm just telling you people's story. That's what I'm doing.
Do you ever ask for forgiveness?
No, I don't.
For what you have done? You don't?
No, I'm not. Because my godfather, Bobby Dowell, died of cancer. Right after my father died. I went to go visit him, and he said he was doing 37 years in jail for murder. And I went to visit. He was dying, and I was talking to him, and I said to Bobby, I said, "What do you regret?" He goes to Frankie boy. He goes, "I don't regret nothing." He goes, "I ain't going to hell as a fag, but I'm going to hell recommended."
Yeah.
And I looked at him. I said, "Man, that was pretty cool, And I said, nah, because that's not going to help you. I don't think it's going to help you.
Right.
You did what you got to do. You did what you had to do. So easy. So, forgive me, Father, I've sinned. Nah.
Yeah, I remember growing up Catholic, and you always had to go to, confession, and I'm like, why do I have to go and like tell a priest my confessions? I know what I did wrong.
That's right. God, if there's a God, he's going to know too.
And he knows too.
Like,
I'll just, talk to him. I'll go directly to him rather than go to a second party.
That's why I don't go to church. That's why
me
I
either.
talk to him. I talk to the guy myself. I need to go nowhere.
Exactly. That's how I feel.
So.
If you guys are really lucky, St. Peter will be a friend of ours.
St. Peter?
Who?
St. Peter will be a friend of ours, not a friend of mine.
I don't know where I'm going, man. So, like I said, we don't know. I don't know where I'm going.
Well, I know, Paul, you're going to hell.
Yeah, probably.
Paul's definitely going to hell.
That's why I'm an atheist, because then there's no hell or heaven.
I hope everybody I know this will be together. I hope everybody is not heaven. I'm no bad one. I'm going to hell. I doubt that very much. So
they say when you die, your sins are forgiven.
Maybe he can
because that's the ultimate.
He can start a protection racket against the devil.
Yeah, maybe. If my father and my uncle and my godfather's dead, they got some crew down there, man. I wouldn't mind joining it.
All right, Frank, it's been great. I really appreciate your call.
I can't wait. I'm gonna get this book.
I want our listeners to check out The President Street Boys, Growing Up Mafia by Frank DiMatteo, available Barnes & Noble, Amazon, and the few good bookstores that are left.
Please look at it. You read it yourselves and let me know. Another opinion always helps.
Absolutely. We have a copy here. I started on it, but I just didn't get all the way. But I appreciate your call, buddy. Have a good day, and thanks for calling Dysfunctional.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
I really enjoyed it.
Okay, man. Bye-bye.
Take care now.